It's a great pleasure to welcome the one and only GedDuffy. Listen, Jed, cheers for joining us tonight on Mancunia TV. You brought a brand new book out, which is why you're here. It came out in November. It's called Factory Fairy Tales, Joy Division, New Order, Factory Records, The Hacienda and Me. It is available now. I'm not ready yet, really looking forward to reading it. But first of all, for those that perhaps aren't familiar with you and your story, briefly tell us a little bit about who you are and how you connected to our Manchester music scene.
Right, I was brought up in Burnage, which is now famous as being Oasis last year. Back in those days, it was just a shitty suburb in South Manchester. And I got into music when I was about 11. I got into Slade. And then through a little bit of hassle outside Old Trafford between myself and Mr. Rob Gretton on Derby Day, I ended up becoming mates with the factory people and working at the Russell Club, and then forming the Stockholm Monsters, and then working at the Hacienda, and forming another band called La Volta La Cota, who Tony Wilson said we had to be on Tony Wilson because we were too fucking rock and roll for Factory. Darling was what he said. So we ended up in Factory Burnage, and I was going to end up in 1988 when I gave up music. But when I told the editor my story afterwards, he said, write the fucking thing. So I have.
Now, you mentioned the fact that, you gave for Burnage. Noel Gallagher said a quote about your first band. He said, the Stockholm Monsters were the first band to come from Burnage. Oasis was second. No, that's some compliment,
that's a statement. That's a lie. That's a statement. Statement.
I'll tell you something about Noel Gallagher. We used to play football in Pringle Fields.
Right.
And there was these snotty little fuckers that used to rob our ball. And my mate Slim used to slap them. And that was Noel Gallagher, Liam Gallagher. I know his brother. And they went on and made it, and we ended up being the ones to slap them.
Do you know what though, but you've got a great story to tell. Your story didn't end there. Obviously, you've mentioned about Oasis and the Gallaghers and all that kind of stuff, but tell us about your relationship with, with Tony Wilson and with Peter Hook, and you told me a great story before, so tell us a little about your relationship with that back in the day and, how you knew them.
Well, it all started through Rob Gretton, and I think it was March 78, and I was outside Old Trafford with Slim, and back in those days, you came out of the football, you ended up fighting. No, you didn't have a choice. So we were playing City, it was 2-2, but we ended up having this fight on Railway Road with these City fans.
Did you win?
No, we won, the Reds won. And then the next night I went to Rafters, and it was Generation X. So I went up to the DJ to ask him to play a song. And he looked at me, and we both said the same thing at the same time. Oh, it's you cunt. And then Rob did his normal trick, pushed his glasses up his nose, and said, my name's Rob, what's your name? And that's how we became mates with Rob Gretton.
Can you remember what song you asked for?
Yes, it was Emergency by 999.
Great song, great song.
And afterwards he said, I don't play shit like that.
So your relationship started from there with Rob, you became friends with him and stuff like that. What happened next in your story and, the Hacienda and Peter Hook? And
we started working in Russell Club, and then we carried on after that. Then when I formed the Stockholm Monsters, the first thing Rob did was he gave us gigs. I think our second gig was at the Leeds fan club supporting New Order. And then we carried on playing in New Order, and through that, we met Peter Hook. Now, we went in the studio to record Fairy Tales, and we had an absolute disaster with Mr. Hammond. So we said we're never using him again, so we asked Hooky. So Hooky used to mix for the Monsters, every live gig, and every record we made. When I formed La Volta La Cota, Hooky was our driver. He was our roadie. He was our sound guy.
Everyone.
And he was great.
I love this. So what Noel Gallagher was for the Inspiral Carpets, Hooky was for you. That's brilliant, that, isn't it?
Yeah, he was our dog's body, really. He did everything for us. The one thing he used to do all the time was, every time we came back over Snake Pass or somewhere like that, he'd turn all the lights off at 2-3 o'clock in the morning and put his foot down, and we'd be shitting ourselves in the back. and he'd just be sat there laughing, you know. And then when we worked together at the Hacienda, it was, he used to hug the gear in with us. So you'd see the bands come up, and you'd be looking at him saying, "Is that Peter Hook?" And I can't be Peter Hook. And then you'd wait and see how long it was before one of them would come up to him and say, "Are you Peter Hook, mate?" And he'd go, "Nah, fuck off, you twat, I hate him."
I think he'd still say that now, to be honest.
Yeah, you probably would.
So back then when Peter Hook were working for you doing what he was doing, did you know that he was going to go on to do what he did? Did you ever feel that there was something about him as a musician?
Yes. It was like, I was looking up at you and Curtis when you used to work in Rare Records. So I saw Joy Division quite a lot. And New Order, when they started, they were so different than any other band. They had a really great attitude. You know, it got me in trouble at times. And I mean, Ucky's wrote in his book about the gig in Rotterdam when there was a proper riot, and I mean, it was as bad as the UK subs and discharge at the Russell Club. It was bad, and I've got a bit on that in the book about that, and that was because all these Dutch people paid £10 or whatever at the time to come in and see them, and New Order played for 30 minutes. Didn't say hello, didn't say goodbye, didn't do an encore, and it didn't go down well. But the attitude they had, you could tell they were going to do something. I mean, personally, I think they're fucking shite now. They're not the same band, and it's all Barney doing.
Say what you think, yeah.
Oh, I can't stand them now. I really can't. I mean, Ucky was the man, but that's just me.
Talking to you earlier on in your story, we really could sit here for hours and talk about it. I'm not going to because we haven't got hours, and it is available now in this book. First, jumping forward though, you say 1988 you stopped doing what you do with the music scene. Why was that?
I just got fed up. It was, I was living with a girl in Wivenshaw, and we had a band together, and we'd get a drummer, then we'd lose the guitarist. We'd get a guitarist, and we'd lose the drummer. And then we went in the studio to do a demo, and we found out the singer couldn't sing. He was terrified. He'd sing in rehearsal, but as soon as you put the proper mic in front of him, so that was it. I called time on the band, and walked away.
That was 1988, which was arguably at the pinnacle of the start of the whole Manchester explosion. Have you got any regrets about stopping in music then?
No, not really, no. I think the way things are going, it's, I might not even been here now, and I wouldn't have had the 3 kids that I've had. So, yeah, I'm glad I did what I did. And
you've been able to write a good book about it. Now, we're going to talk about the book and where it's available in a minute, but you may be watching this now at home, Mancunia TV, thinking, I recognise that fella, I've seen him in a film. Tell us about your cameo appearance.
In what?
24 Hour Party.
No.
You weren't?
No. Basically, what happened in 24 Hour Party...
Someone looked like you.
No, what happened in 24 Hour Party, people, was the way I met Rob Gretton, fighting him outside Old Trafford. They decided to say that was Sean Ryder in the film because the producer didn't want to put the Stockholm Monsters in the film because he'd never heard of it. So that was it. So that story there, that everybody thinks it's Sean Ryder, it wasn't, it was me.
So that's your connection with 24 Hour Party people. The fight scene with Sean Ryder, it wasn't Sean Ryder, it's a lot of bollocks. It was you.
Yeah. It was me and Slim. And and that was it.
So you stopped in 1988, and then all of a sudden you've released this book. Why now?
Because so many people have said to me, "We're sick to fucking death of hearing all your stories, write them down, you bastard." So I did.
It is a great book. It's got a foreword in it by Hooky, an introduction in it by Manny. There's great quotes on the back by Noel Gallagher as well. If people want this book, where's it available from?
Some Empire Publications. It's in some of the record shops in Manchester. It's in Waterstones and Amazon, and I flog it as well. Signed copies. So if anyone wants one tonight, we can buy one. It's only a tenner.
And if people are watching this at home, what do they do? Just get in touch with you via social media?
Yeah, they can go on Facebook and just put in GedDuffy and they'll find me. So,
are you happy with the outcome of this? Is it what you wanted? Is it more than you wanted?
Yeah. It's. I never thought I'd have a book published. My aim was to write my story during lockdown and had 4 copies made, one for each of the three lads and one for me. And after I did about 30 pages, I read it and I thought, I've got worse books than this downstairs. So I got in touch with Mick Middles and he read it and he came back to me and said, I like it, write it like that and it will do good. So I did.
The great thing about this book, and we were talking about it before off air, is the fact that there's a lot of stories in here that you don't hear. You read a million things about the Hacienda, but the actual Russell Club period of the Manchester music history, if you like, no one's ever really wrote about. Is that something you look at doing in the future? Is it something that needs doing?
I'd love to do it, but I haven't got the time. I'm back in work now. But the thing is, if you look at Manchester music, you've got books about the Electric Circus, you've got books about the Hacienda, but the most important bit is the link between the two, which is the Russell Club and mainly Alan Wise, the promoter. And whenever Manchester music history is always written, it's always Wilson, Factory. He's always forgotten. And no Alan Wise, there's no Russell. And
it does, the whole, history of the music scene does sort of miss that Russell Club bit a bit, really, doesn't it?
And the Russell Club was so important. It was, after the circus show, they had rafters for a little bit, and then they opened the Russell, and the Russell was that average sized club, held about 800, 900, depending on how many Alan Wise would let in. And it was the link then, all the big bands played there, if you weren't big enough to play the Apollo.
So you've done all this, you had a massive part in the music scene in Manchester in the 80s, you've wrote this book now. What do you think of the music scene in Manchester at the moment? Is it something you keep an eye on, or?
Yeah, there's, I've been to see Cold Water Swimmers quite a lot, and I think they're an absolutely brilliant band.
Great band, yeah, good friends of the show as well, yeah.
And they're really good. And it's a shame they'll never make it. They should make it.
They will.
Positivity, yeah. Positivity.
I hope they do. I mean, they really are good bands.
They are a great band, they're good friends on the show, and I have no doubt they'll be on it again soon at some point. What about you? You brought your book out, GedDuffy. What happens next?
I get up in the morning and go and sell on the floor eating.
On the floor eating, yeah.
That's it. I'm burnt. Yeah. And I go out on Friday night and get a piss watching Cold Water Swimmers.
Good on you, there's worse things to do on a Friday night. Yeah. Well, Jed, it's been an absolute pleasure. Just remind us once again, this book, Factory Fairy Tales by this fellow GedDuffy, just remind us once again where you can pick up a copy.
Amazon, me, some of the record shops in Manchester.
Here right now.
Yeah, if you're around the world, you get it in Amazon. It's sold quite a bit around the world in Amazon, believe it or not.
It is great, and just talking to you before, loads of stories are wrote about Manchester music, the Hacienda, but there'll be a million stories here that I guarantee you won't have heard before, which you'll love, to be honest, if you're a fan of this amazing music scene we're involved with. But Jed, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on Mancunian TV. Good luck with it, good luck with the underfloor eating. GedDuffy.